Hi, I'm here with Alex at Ysgol Eirias. Is that pronounced okay, Eirias?
Yes, fine. Yeah.
Perfect. Alex, can you just introduce yourself and let us know who you are and how you've got to the position you're in today?
Yeah, so Alex Metcalf, I'm assistant head at Ysgol Eirias. I've been here 8 years. I did my PGCE in 2015 at Bangor University. I then went away, did a year of supply, and I came back here after that, and I've been here ever since. 2021, so I was a PE teacher at the time. 2021, I gained the role of head of year, and then a year later I became assistant head, and I've still got both of those roles now.
Nice. Oh, so you still teach PE now?
I do, yeah, 16 lessons a week. So
oh, nice.
Yeah, I still get to go outside.
Do you get to pick and choose when it's nice weather? And
I wish.
Well, as we've come in, and I wanted to jump to, I've seen the facilities here within the school. In terms of sport-wise, you mentioned these are the best around, is that right?
Yeah, so, they're unrivaled facilities in North Wales. You have to go to Cardiff to see the same sort of facilities. So in Wales, they're really renowned facilities, and we get full use of those during the school day and for our extracurricular provision as well.
And one thing we hadn't spoke about before, but how's it been for the pupils here then? Have you seen pupils kind of progress into sport or choose the school for the sport facilities? Has that boosted the kind of numbers you've had?
Yeah, definitely. We look at COVID, and that had a massive impact on the attendances. We're seeing extracurricular, but we had a real drive and push to get attendances up. So we're focused on two areas really. One, the participation level, and we've seen numbers rise there. We've had well over 5,000 pupils attend extracurricular clubs, but also you've got the other aspect of the elite performance. So for example, our under 15 rugby team has just won the North Wales Cup and the Aurora Cup. So
nice.
We're doing really well in that sector.
And sat in the reception there, I just saw you won Secondary School of the Year.
Yeah, so we'll touch on that a bit later.
Okay,
But we did last year. We were Secondary School of the Year.
Is that the whole of Wales?
North Wales. But we regularly appear also in the top 10 in the whole of England and Wales. So we are a really high performance school.
I know I did jump through to that one. But in terms of where we go at the moment, in terms of the challenges we're facing in teaching at the moment, or you're facing in teaching, from here and North Wales, this is our first podcast here. But how are the challenges here? What do you see that's happening up in North Wales of challenges for teaching right now?
I think when you look at challenges in education as a whole, everyone's going through the same. What we tend to see is the challenges mirror what's happening in society. So if I was to tell you the top three that we're facing at the moment, it's socio-economic factors, it's mental health, those sorts of things. But the main thing with that is we're addressing it head on. We like a challenge in education, and we're always striving to be better. So we will do the best for our pupils and the young people and the community itself. And
the big thing there you touched upon with mental health and well-being, I go back to it, but sport's a huge help in this.
Definitely, yeah. Well-being is a massive focus. It's been part of our whole school targets for the last few years now. If we need to, and we do, we use external agencies and we use the support of the professionals outside of education as well. But yes, sport is a massive part of that.
And on top of that as well, with regards to the sport, is there anything specific for those teachers that are kind of coming through, NQTs that are coming into the profession? I know the media can kind of cover mental health. It varies. It's a massive kind of target area for everyone to kind of focus on. But in terms of when you were an NQT and NQTs now, should it be something that kind of, you say meet head on, but is it something you should kind of fear, or are you trying to embrace it a bit more? And how are the pupils in terms of being receptive to teachers almost, I say this like becoming counsellors, but the communication, I guess, is key.
Yeah, definitely. As a teacher, you're not just a teacher. You have different hats on all the time, especially, my role as head of year. I experienced a lot of that, and you're supporting the pupils, the families, but you do get the training and the professional development behind that. So you're given all the skills. Like you say, one key thing that you have to bear in mind is looking after your own mental health and well-being. And, we're always perceived as adults to be able to do that well. But what's really key is, a community feel in the school. They're not only your colleagues, but they're your friends. So you've always got those avenues of asking for help if you need it. And then again, like I said, you've got those external agencies when they're required as well.
And in your school in general, good support, as you say about friends, is it good here? It's in the team ethos and how you get on with each other, is it good?
Yeah, it's amazing. And we're really lucky in that sense, but I'm sure there's other schools in the same situation. But I follow them all on social media, and you see that they're genuinely doing things together on a weekend and outside of school. We push, so you're talking about the extracurricular there, but there's staff that aren't necessarily PE teachers that are getting involved in the extracurricular. So you can actually see the benefit of extracurricular amongst the staff as well. If I had to teach maths for 6 lessons a day, I'd want to get outside, and the opportunities there within school and obviously outside of school.
That's good, because I was going to ask about the opportunities then. We look at struggles, and the media highlights the struggles in teaching or within education, but as far as opportunity goes, we've touched on a few, but what do you see as opportunities within teaching and education right now?
It will sound very cliche, but you genuinely can shape the lives of our young people. And every teacher should be proud of playing a part in that. But they're going to go on to society, so you're actually shaping future generations in society. So that's one really key opportunity. But within schools, you've always got the professional development avenue. If you want to progress, the avenues are there for you. Even if you don't want to take on an additional role, we're always looking in the profession, and schools will help you with that to develop your own skills further.
Yeah. Oh, well, and for you, you're assistant head now. You don't look the oldest, so you've obviously progressed. So progression is there. How has it been in terms of yourself, in terms of that journey? Have you found it a challenge to progress? Have people helped you? How's it been for you?
Yeah, I think my hairline says different to looking young. But yeah, I'm 31, so I'm 32 this year. You've got to be lucky in terms of the right timing and the right setting. I say now, and honestly say now, I don't think I'll ever leave this school. I absolutely love it. But people have to take into consideration where the right opportunity comes up. But what I say to any member of staff is take those opportunities, say yes to things. It might not be a paid role. It might be not the path that you anticipated. But if you take on extra things within your role, you're going to make it. And everything happens for a reason, that old saying, but it genuinely does.
And I keep going back to kind of the media and what they're highlighting now. And one thing is sickness or teachers being off, or strikes that we've had that have kind of calmed down now. But we've got a big situation and a big concern with the amount of not just teachers but support staff that schools have been struggling off, often the sick, and long-term stress has been something that's widely talked about. In terms of what you put in place here, you've mentioned about kind of social media, weekends, kind of being more of a friendship cohort and being able to speak to each other. What else? It's a tricky question, but what else do you feel in terms of teaching now helps the fact that teachers, well-being wise, may not be off on the sick, can help themselves or help each other? You've obviously got a good setup here with what you do, but what do you feel you can kind of, or could be put into place to help that, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious answer is more funding in schools. I understand the circumstances surrounding that.
Yeah.
Head teachers have to take a real forensic look at the budget and what we invest into. But staff are always going to be at the forefront of that. Pupils, young people, our learners, they are the main focus first and foremost. But without teachers, you haven't got a school.
Yeah.
So the school has to take and put a massive priority on improving and maintaining good, positive relationships, mental health, and it's about giving each individual the tools to look after their own mental health. Because, like you talked about and you touched upon there, sport, physical activity, it's about giving people, and again for our young people, our pupils, it's the same, giving them the tools to manage their own mental health, because everyone has mental health.
Oh yeah, I have every Monday struggling to kind of get myself a bit motivated to get to work, or you look outside. Everyone who knows me knows that there's that negativity around life. First world problems, we get it, and that no profession I don't think has its internal issues. That's just life.
Yeah, and then what I would say about education in particular, I love this aspect, is no 2 days are the same.
Yeah.
You can be really struggling in your home life. You come into school and, a pupil will say something and it'll take your mind completely off what's going on at home. And, I actually see my work, I really enjoy it, obviously, but I see it as a break from home life. Sometimes it's actually the opposite. But yeah, you've always got the pupils will pick you up, the staff will pick you up, and they'll really support you through anything that you're going through.
And I haven't asked that. How are in general, how are the pupils here at the school? Do you feel they generally enjoy coming to school?
Yeah, on the whole, yes. I mean, education isn't for everyone.
No, of course.
But what we want to do, and the Curriculum for Wales, which we'll touch upon later, perhaps, really focuses on the holistic development of the young person.
Yeah.
And that's key in terms of we want them to succeed in life. And, you know, our hashtag or our strapline, if you like, is succeeding together.
Yeah.
And success looks different to every single person.
Definitely.
But we want every pupil to enjoy their time at school. And, you know, I've never left education. If you look at it like that, I loved my time in school, and that's why I've gone back into it. And I'm at the same place now.
So you didn't have a break, really? You kind of went university straight to
Yeah,
school?
I haven't done that gap year
Yeah,
yet.
no, nor did I. No.
Maybe
Still waiting for that one.
Go
Yeah.
traveling, yeah.
And in terms of just your opinion now, where do you feel, because being a head teacher now it's a tough gig. It's hard work, like you said, and one of the biggest things for head teachers is managing budget over sometimes in some schools actually staff wellbeing, because it's money first. It's what the government are doing. It's what, if you don't fall in line, it's just what the local authorities kind of cut back, or, you know, schools going into deficits is big news down South Wales. But in terms of yourself, and there's no right answer here, but what do you feel could be the quick wins? Or if you were a head teacher, I know you're not, but quick win-wise in terms of finances, what do you feel is an option, if anything? Or do you feel schools are just totally stuck in some situations?
Yeah, first and foremost, like, I've got a lot of respect for head teachers, because it is a high pressure situation, which is made worse by the budget. Like I said earlier, ultimately more money needs to be put in education, and I'll openly say that. Where that comes from is for someone else higher up for me to decide. But yeah, they need to take a real forensic look, and a couple of quick wins that I could suggest if schools aren't already doing this is one, to look at grants and external sources of funding for certain things. For example, I know coming from the PE faculty that we've found a grant to buy some more gym equipment, for example, for our gym. So it's those little wins there. The other thing that we do, cover implications, obviously, like you said and mentioned, we use our teaching assistants and cover staff within school really effectively to try and minimise the impact of that.
And to be fair, schools that do that as well, then you've got the pupils have a relationship already with support staff. You know, for the continuity in the classroom, that's key as well.
Definitely, yeah. And you know, with any cover lesson, you haven't got a specialist teacher, and that, you know, is an issue. However, like you say, the relationships are key, and we've found that with our internal cover staff is they've built really good relationships with our pupils, which means in the class we have far less issues, and they're still continuing with their learning.
Brilliant. And you mentioned cover staff, which is great because it's something that we're working towards with Eteach. That's our new platform. So we know we're working it with the supply teachers, that it's the pool of staff that's available on supply. You mentioned you've done supply beforehand. It's a fantastic way in, an opportunity to go and find your right school. Did you do supply here?
So I did my PhD in Bangor. I then went 6 months in Manchester, and then I went back home to Norfolk for 6 months there before then coming back to Ysgol Eirias. But like you say, you see a whole range of schools, so it's brilliant on that level. But also, if you're doing supply in a school and they really value your input and they can see that you're a top class teacher, the doors are going to be opened. Yeah,
and it's been 10 years now of me being in recruitment, and I say to, well, especially in Wales now, to teachers who are paid to scale, we've been talking about it. The money is good now. Like I say now, it's a profession where, again, the light's shined on for media is struggling, but as a teacher, even coming in your first year, it's a good starting salary, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was more than even when I started.
Yeah, of course.
I look at the NQTs now, I'm like, how lucky are you?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fantastic salary. And also, you can't ignore the fact of the holidays. Yes, you need them, and yes, you deserve them because you work really hard.
And it's not full holiday. It's not, as the media say.
But you know, that is a bonus of the role.
Definitely. And we talked of quick wins, but in terms of the cluster and working with your cluster, how many schools locally have you got, or do you work as a cluster, or how is it set up here for you?
Yeah, so we work really closely with our primary cluster. So we've got 5 schools that are feeder schools in effect. We work really closely with them. Over the last couple of years, one of our staff has taken on the role of transition coordinator.
Okay.
Now they go regularly into the school, build relationships with the pupils and the staff there, which means that transition from primary and secondary is a lot smoother. we have a lot of events, so our teachers go out to there. Today, as you've arrived, we've actually got primary schools doing lessons in our school now currently. So we do that on a regular basis. We also, this year, we've sent staff in to do extracurricular football, and that culminated in a tournament between our cluster schools using our amazing facilities. Another primary did their Christmas play, and they used our hall, so the parents are coming up as well. And then we've got the transition days and weeks for year 5, 6. So that's really strong. The other aspect of cluster, if you like, is working with secondary schools to share good practice and really drive that improvement. So we work really closely with secondary schools in the local area as well.
I was going to say, have you got, I don't know, I'm new to this area today, but how many schools locally have you got? It's kind of in that class of secondary schools as well.
Yeah, so we call it the A55 Alliance, original, because it's the road running through past all schools. But yeah, it varies on subjects. What we look at is the AOLEs, and we meet regularly within the different AOLEs.
Okay.
So health and wellbeing, which I've been part of, there's 5 schools in that. And it's really positive because you're sharing good practice. And then, you're addressing issues that maybe you're facing as well.
Yeah, schools are all kind of facing similar pains, similar struggles. But then also, I think since COVID as well, from schools and leaders, senior leaders, everyone's kind of pulling together a little bit more because there's not really anyone who's kind of stand out of everyone else. Everyone's finding that financial burden, for example, an issue. Well-being is everywhere, as you say. So I think since COVID, I don't know if you found the same, that working together, it's kind of, a lot of schools have come together.
Yeah, definitely. And, the Eston inspection, yes, you get rated on that quite a lot. But in terms of schools, you're competing for numbers now.
Yeah.
The demographic in this local area is low. So you are competing on one aspect. But at the same time, what are we all here for? To support our young people and make sure they get the best education. The way you do that is to share good practice. Yeah. So other schools should be, and they have been all along. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Since COVID, there's been a increased effort to share good practice.
I'm glad there's some good things that are coming out of COVID. Again, we're feeling the effects, I think, now government-wise of the money. But like you said, that's way above my pay grade. But in terms of the new curriculum, this has kind of been on the rollout now, 9 months to a year. In terms of how it's affected yourselves here at the school, has it been positive? Is it something that kind of you're embracing? Is it a challenge? How is it with the new curriculum in Wales?
Yeah, it's new, isn't it? And some people are afraid of change, but I think it's really positive. We were a pioneer school, so we've actually been working on the curriculum for Wales and the development of it since 2017.
Oh, wow.
So we were the real driving force and pilot scheme, if you like, of developing that. So we've been actually implementing elements of it since 2017. Obviously now officially it's in year 8, next year 9. But the feedback that we've got from pupils, parents, and staff has been really positive. What I think the key year will be is the year after that. So obviously it goes into year 10 and 11. They're your exam years, if you like, qualification years. But I'm really confident that that's going to be successful because you've got schools, you've got local authority, government working really closely with the exam boards to make sure that everything's in place for that. But the main thing about Curriculum for Wales, like I said, is the holistic development and the focus on the learners, and that's what we want. It's providing them with the skills that they need to succeed in life, whatever career, whatever pathway they go down. It's trying to give them that broad range of skills so that they're successful. Yeah.
And going on to inspections and Eston, they're starting to move away from that kind of traditional route of inspections that they've been doing. And I know there's been talk about a focus on wellbeing and the pressures that teachers face. In terms of your thoughts in the shift, or if you've been involved, when was the last inspection?
So we got recently inspected, but it was on the old framework, if you like. But a local school to us has been inspected recently, and they're actually within that pilot study for the new inspection. Everyone I've spoken to have been really positive about that experience. I think, one, like you say, the new inspection really focused on the curriculum for Wales, which is timely as it ties in with that. But also, it's more of a collaborative approach, and it feels much more like that from what I've heard, which can only benefit and drive improvement. Any school should welcome the opportunity to identify and work on areas to improve, and that's the only way you get better.
So were you here when you went through?
I was. It was my first one, so it was when I recently became assistant head as well. So it was a slightly
So you were in the thick of it? Or?
Yes, I was. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So my whole school target was well-being,
Wow.
and we came out really well in that area.
Yeah.
So I'm
No,
pleased.
big it up. Yeah. How well? How well? Outstanding. Or
Yeah, we
No.
were in well-being. You know, it came back really, really positive. Mainly because of all the work we're doing with the learners, the experiential and extracurricular work we're doing with those. But yeah, it should be a main part of the inspection because, like you say, well-being is a key priority.
And I suppose when you look at that, and you can tell there how kind of proud you are of the results. I know there's that fear factor, and I've been in education now for a long time, and it's kind of like that dreaded call. But when you put in the hard work, or if you're doing things right anyway, yes, things get scrutinised. But when you get that result back, you must be over the moon and proud of the team that you work with.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was my first inspection as well across my whole teaching career. And one thing that was really highlighted to me, if as a school you're doing everything you can, you're doing your job, you should know what your areas of weakness and areas of strengths are, and you should already be working on them. And that came through really well in that inspection. So I personally enjoyed.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether I should say
No.
that. But yeah, it was a good experience.
Well, you say enjoyed, and that's probably a breath of fresh air because the amount of NQTs now that are just about to qualify, I think it was actually last Friday, so they're coming through now into their new career, and that NQT, PGCE year, sorry, not NQT, the PGCE year, it's a tough year. There's a lot of commitment, there's a lot of time. Some people have great experiences, some not so great. But in terms of your advice or kind of tips for those coming now into the profession, you said you've enjoyed it. I guess we can take away the fear factor or the negativity around it. What's your advice, or what positive things could you say to them to look forward to now in their career?
Yeah, I think, if I was to give 3 bits of advice for any NQT going into the profession, the first one would be a sponge. Yeah. And what I mean by that is really learn from everything around you, the experiences, the experienced teachers. Try and take on board as much as possible because that's going to improve you. Second thing would be resilience. You do need to be resilient. Every day isn't going to be a good day, but you need to be resilient and be strong. You will get through that, and better days will come. But also, you're then a role model for those young people by showing resilience.
Yeah.
And then, the third thing for me would be take every opportunity you can.
Yeah.
And really those opportunities, and looking back, reflecting on my career, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't take those opportunities.
Yeah.
So really take advantage of anything you're offered.
It's a good point because, again, I was in PE like yourself, and for us it would be extracurricular and after-school clubs. But you touched on it earlier as well, especially in primary, like with secondary, kind of, you said then about being a maths teacher and then the kind of joy of going out on a football pitch, a rugby pitch, hockey. In terms of taking on those extracurricular activities, that's great that should be an opportunity rather than kind of looking at it as in like I've got to stay late and do this. But it's an opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, because as a member of staff, that's your outlet. It's a different environment where you're meeting the pupils, and it's a different level. It's not within the classroom. So actually what we find is it benefits those staff around school because you're building those relationships with the pupils in a different environment. Yeah. And then that actually helps your classroom teaching as well.
Yeah.
Because, the behaviour management side of things is going to become much easier because you're engaging with them and they go, actually, says a decent footballer.
Yeah.
I mean?
The old lunchtime playground, kicking a football kind of meme that's been out there. But it's true, this different environments. And how much time have you kind of spent in the classroom? I had to cover lessons, geography was what I covered, but you must see a huge difference coming into the classroom, even though you've got the relationship with the pupils out on the kind of PE field. How do you find it if and when you've had to come into the classroom?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, you've got to put yourself in scenarios where you see the pupils in different environments. Yeah. And obviously, like you said, with cover implications, I'm happy to cover any lesson and go into that lesson because it's really actually enjoyable to see pupils in different subjects. Someone who's potentially not physically gifted, can I say, or able in a classroom. You see them in a different subject and you see how hard working they are and how much they're progressing in a different subject. It's really pleasing to go into the classroom.
Yeah, and we're seeing it from our side with Eteach, with all, kind of the issues at the moment that we face, but secondary schools and the amount of students that are coming through trying to choose primary, or there's a big kind of light at the moment on pupil behaviour in secondary schools. Not talking about here, in general. This is across the whole nation. And in Wales, we've got areas where it's a real struggle. And we've got a head teacher meeting not long from now where we're discussing ways in which those head teachers are dealing with purely behaviour. In terms of yourself, like I've witnessed it in PE, you've got those pupils who are, like I said, able, love PE. And you've got those ones that it's just not for them. How have you found it in your kind of career so far of those children who may be deemed as bad behaved, but it's different sections? How have you kind of worked with that, dealt with it, or advice again for any newly qualified teachers coming into that of how to deal with the situations of poor behaviour?
Yeah, behaviour management has always been within education.
Yeah.
Everyone that's gone through their teacher training, we've got staff that have been here for over 30 years. They would have behaviour management as part of their training. For me, it's all about engagement and building those relationships. If you can build those relationships, find what makes that learner tick. It might not be their favourite subject, but if they are engaged, they're less likely to need behaviour management strategies within the classroom. There isn't the one size fits all rule. Every pupil is different, but what we've got to remember is there's a lot of vulnerable learners in every school, and you don't know what they're going through in their home lives. So when they come through the door, when you actually dig deeper into it and you have those conversations with the pupils of, why were you acting like that? Well, actually, there's something much more serious going on behind that. But first and foremost for me is, yes, you use a wide range of strategies, but engagement is key to that. But, we're really lucky here. We've got strong standards and expectations and, on the whole there.
And we look at how difficult it is for adults through COVID. Imagine what it was like for children, especially we look at primary school children at a very young age, that amount of time at home. No one knows what their environment's like at home. Could be incredible, could be really challenging. But here, like you said, the area that you're in now and the school's environment you've created in general, it's good here.
Yeah, really positive. And, like you said, I've done a lot of supply in other schools, so I've seen, and, I really do not want to leave the school. It's perfect. But by all means, our demographic and our local community, it's not a massively affluent area. Yes, we do have affluent pupils, but we also have, a lot of pupils that do struggle day to day. So it's not a case of, we get the creme de la creme, if you like. But, we work hard with every single pupil to ensure they succeed in life.
And in terms of opportunities here, because you said you moved to supply, you went Manchester, you went Norfolk. What brought you back? Was it this school that kind of brought you back here?
Yeah, I actually got a call. There was an opportunity that came up, so they called me and said, would I be interested? Again, it wasn't permanent at that time, but I took the leap, if you like, moved to the area. And then the year after that, some things happened. Luck, like I say, you need an element of luck. But yeah, it's definitely the local area and the school itself that I came back for.
And then opportunities, we talk about Bangor University here. I'm a bit unsure. I haven't worked with them directly, but in terms of the PGCE course there, opportunities in this area, positive opportunities, or is there a lot of work in general? Look, I'm unsure of kind of location-wise how it is, but in terms of the links you've got, you mentioned you were a bit of a pioneer school. You work closely with the university?
Yeah, so Caban, so it's Bangor University, Mitchell Chester University is where all our PGCE students go. And Mrs. Blackwell, so Hayley Blackwell, she's assistant head teacher in school. She works really closely. She's actually at the university today, and they set up the programme. So every Thursday, a cohort of trainee teachers, if you like, come to us, and they do all their learning within the school. So they go around, look at classrooms, they do lectures, if you like, in school. So we have really close links with Bangor University, and that's been really successful.
And how long has that been going on for in terms of the students or pupils coming into the school? Is that something that's been going on for a long time?
Yeah, several years now. So it was prior to COVID that happened. Obviously, we had the online element of that during there, but it's since pre-COVID that's been happening, and it's building year on year, so it's going strength to strength.
And does that mean then you kind of, if there's any opportunities there, they know about the school, you get a little bit of a hand pick, or how does that work? They're here a lot of the time, I'm guessing. Yeah, so
obviously some of those will have their placements here throughout the year, and they get to work even more closely within the school. The opportunities are there. If you show that you're a really strong member of staff, if an opportunity comes up, it's a really good avenue, because the school will know how you work, and you've got one foot in the door.
Even on placement,
definitely, and never underestimate your placement, especially if you go on supply as well. Never underestimate that, because that they will be looking.
Definitely. And we know from sport and PE, you're looking around everywhere. it differs from the classroom a little bit because there's a larger space. But it's you say to the pupils, you've always got your eyes, you're always keeping your eye out. But when it comes to placements and staff, it's almost like, it's a bit of a cliche from us saying, always treat it like an interview. But it really is like that. You've witnessed it. You had an opportunity here. That's because you had been here for placement or supply?
I was, yeah. So I did my first placement here. So yeah, I mean, I love my first placement here, and that's why I came back. So like I said, I got the call to say, you know, would you like to cover a member of staff?
Yeah.
And that's how it came about. So
and now assistant head.
Yeah.
So a tricky one. We always end with this question, but I'm going to do two because I know sport-wise as well. If you're a sports person, you've always got a link back to sport. But I'm going to go for two. So your proudest moment to date in your career, and if you can give me a sports one, and then a work one.
Yeah, I could talk about personal achievements. Obviously, getting the promotions for me, that is a massively proud moment. Sporting-wise, like I touched upon, I'm actually head of year 10 now, and it was that team that won the Aruri Cup and the North Wales Cup this year. So that's fantastic. They also got through to the last 8 in the Welsh Cup, so we went down to Dyffryn Aman. So Shane Williams was their coach.
Nice.
We lost that picture, unfortunately, but that's a great experience for them.
Yeah.
So that's sport and context, if you like. But for me, it's the day-to-day small wins that are the proudest moments. If you've got a pupil leaving your lesson and they thank you for the lesson, something so simple as that, it's like, do you know what? It goes down really well. If you've got a pupil that's struggling with something and then they have that eureka moment in a classroom and they understand it and the joy and excitement on their face, like, it sounds cliche, I know, but it genuinely is like that. They are the small wins during the day. And obviously, I think school in general, education in general, really shapes the lives of those young people, like I said, and then society. Yeah. And every teacher should be proud of that they've played a part in that.
Nice. Thanks, Alex. Much appreciated.
Thanks very much.